Hello, my name is Kira, and for my personality analysis, I'll be looking at Sheldon Cooper. To start, provide a brief overview of Sheldon's character and the TV show being used for analysis, then explain Sheldon's high conscientiousness with the self regulation perspective, then assess Sheldon's hoarded character through the elder horny Fromm perspective, and lastly, analyze Sheldon's dismissing attachment through the neo Fordian perspective. So, who is Sheldon Cooper? Sheldon Cooper is the protagonist of the Netflix series Young Sheldon. He is a child prodigy from East Texas with exceptional abilities in math and science. He was accepted at East Texas Tech at age 11. He aspires to become the youngest physicist. The Young Sheldon Netflix series is a prequel to The Big Bang Theory, which explores early development of Sheldon Cooper's personality and family dynamics. So first we'll look at why Sheldon displays high conscientiousness. Conscientiousness is referred to a personality trait that illustrates responsible, orderliness, achievement-striving, self-regulating, and self-disciplined. High conscientiousness predicts stick to long-term goals, strict impulse control, and highly structured and highly responsible. How does Sheldon explain high conscientiousness? Sheldon demonstrates strong conscientiousness through strict self-regulation, allowing him to remain focused on his long-term goals of becoming one of the youngest physicists without being derailed by distractions. He follows strict daily routines, including bathroom breaks, to maintain productivity and reinforce conscientiousness. Evidence of conscientiousness is seen in season 3, episode 21. Sheldon is offered a place at East Texas Tech at age 11 due to his advanced intellect, while his father supports the idea. Mary is concerned about his maturity. In response, Sheldon creates a video featuring teachers and adults endorsing his readiness, emphasizing how college would accelerate his intellectual growth. This convinces Mary to let him attend. This shows high conscientiousness through the self-regulation perspective, as Sheldon sets clear goals of attending college early and uses implementation intentions by creating a structured, pervasive video. His planning and forward thinking reflects key traits of conscientiousness. Another example is in season 3, episode 16. Sheldon clashes with his family over strict bathroom schedule. After an awkward moment with his father, he insists, "Why do I print out these schedules if you're not going to read them?" This scene shows conscientiousness as his closely monitored schedule compliance and reacts when it's disrupted. His frustration reflects a break in his feedback loop where the immediate task conflicts with his broader goal of maintaining structure and predictability. How is high conscientiousness developed in Sheldon's personality? Sheldon's rigid order and logic reflect his advanced cognitive abilities. Praise for his academic focus helped him build self-worth, impulse control, and predictability. Through the self-regulation perspective, his conscientiousness shows in goal-directed behavior, delayed gratification, and internalized routines to stay on track, becoming a physicist. Sheldon's need for structure may stem from increased anticular cingulate cortex activity, reinforcing his desire for order. Mary's structured parenting provided a disciplined framework which he retained while replacing her religious values with scientific ones. This shaped both his academic focus and internal discipline while fueling his high conscientiousness. So, how Sheldon exhibits hoarding character. Hoarding character is a trait developed by Eric Fromm, which refers to a personality type illustrated by the need to collect, preserve, hold on to ideas, routines, and personal possessions to reinforce a sense of security. Sheldon displays hoarding character by clinging on to known items to shield himself from emotional uncertainty. Sheldon builds his identity on logic-based knowledge and resists new values. Accepting new values will require Sheldon to question what he already believes, which threatens his internal order he worked hard to preserve. For Sheldon, predictable routines shield him from emotional risk, while the change threatens his sense of emotional control, typical of hoarding character traits. Sheldon expresses discomfort or resistance towards social events and non-academic activities that they're unfamiliar environments. Sheldon also has a strong desire to preserve his past by refusing a new bed and new trains for many years. Evidence of hoarding character is seen in season 5, episode 4, when Sheldon is told to move to his trains and science equipment from the garage. He responds with anxiety, saying, "That's a big change. I need to think about this. And what's the rush?" This reflects Eric Fromm's hoarding character, as Sheldon clings to familiar items as basis for security and control. The garage represents a safe and structured environment and has strong attachment to his possessions, especially his trains, highlighting his emotional self-sufficiency. The sudden demand to relocate them feels like a threat to his internal order and triggers distress, as it disrupts the stability he works hard to maintain. The second way is in season 3, episode 9. Sheldon is reluctant to attend Billy's birthday party even after Mary insists. On the day, he dresses as Mr. Spock, saying he'll act as a neutral observer of an alien culture. This behavior reflects Fromm's hoarding character, as Sheldon uses Mr. Spock's persona to avoid emotional support exposure and maintain control. Mr. Spock's calm, emotionless demeanor mirrors Sheldon's coping style. Fromm would interpret this as borrowing a psychological shield to protect against vulnerability. His attachment to Star Trek serves as a mental refuge, helping him preserve his inner order during emotionally overwhelming situations. How was hoarding character acquired in Sheldon's personality? First, See, Sheldon's sensitivity to sensory input and emotional confusion makes his world feel overwhelming. To cope, he retreats to routines and logic, creating an inner world he can control. Fromm would interpret this as a response to an early emotional overstimulation. Sheldon becomes emotionally self sufficient by clinging to internal systems like possessions and habits, not by choice but out of psychological necessity. The second way is Sheldon from a young age was mocked, teased, and emotionally misunderstood, leading to a sense of social inferiority. In response, he hoards knowledge to build self worth and maintain control, unable to trust others for validation. He uses knowledge as an emotional currency as a way to shield for self protection and identity. Next, we'll look at Sheldon's dismissing attachment. Dismissing attachment is one of the theory models which a person struggles creating emotional bonds and overall downplays the importance of relationships that are viewed as untrustworthy. Having intellect valued over emotion, Sheldon learns he can't meet the emotional needs. As a result, he becomes emotionally distant, relying solely on logic for support. He exhibits it by showing discomfort towards physical touch, as he often rejects mother's hugs, seeing physical touch as a nonverbal emotional connection. He avoids such closeness, viewing unstructured emotional input as threatening. Sheldon sees independence as strength and needing others as weakness, shaping a self image of competence and emotional vulnerability. His early experiences taught him that others weren't reliable for support. Evidence of dismissing attachment is in season 2, episode 2. Sheldon meets Paige, another gifted child auditing his college class. When she asks questions he can't answer, he reacts by saying, "You're in my spot," and later says he is having an emotion he's unfamiliar with. He briefly feels jealousy but quickly internalizes it. This reflects Sheldon's dismissing attachment as he tries to regain control and avoid processing discomfort. The scene shows difficulty identifying emotions, and he uses assertiveness to protect self-worth. According to Erickson, early praise for intellect rather than emotional expressions reinforces self-sufficiency and avoidance for emotional dependence. In season 2, episode 5, Sheldon and Missy take part in a twin study. While Sheldon excels at logical tasks like explaining parallelograms, he struggles with emotional insight during a thematic apprehension test, offering only factual observations about monkeys in the photo. Missy, by contrast, creates an emotionally detailed story reacts by questioning the test validity, implies that the researchers don't understand his genius. This reflects dismissing attachment as Sheldon idealizes logic and avoids emotional interpretation, especially when outperformed by Missy. From Klein's Neo-Freudian view, he uses splitting, seeing logic as good and emotion as bad. To protect against emotional inferiority, his avoidance of emotional inquiry and blaming others to reinforce a paranoid schizoposition, central to dismissing attachment. How is dismissing attachment attained in Sheldon's personality? Relational tension. Sheldon's emotional expressions were often misunderstood, and while his need for structure was supported academically, it lacked emotional support. From Erickson's Neo-Freudian view, this led to dismissive attachment because he became hyper-autonomous, not out of safety, but because his emotional needs weren't met in a logical way. Separation from caregiver. Sheldon's mother pushed emotional closeness before he was ready, making him feel overwhelmed and emotionally invaded, lacking a secure base for emotional development. He skips emotional exploration and instead prioritizes independence. According to Mahler, this leads to pseudo-independence where Sheldon develops a dismissing attachment as a defensive strategy to maintain control over his inner world. In conclusion, we did a brief overview of Sheldon Cooper. His unique personality traits allow him to focus on intellectual goals but struggle with social cues. Sheldon focused on logic to guide his structure and control the environment to help us understand why he advanced in academics but lacked social skills. Second, his conscientiousness was used to make strict goals and routines to maximize his efficiency, and praise from others motivated his self-worth. Sheldon's hoarding character struggled to connect with family and emotionally. He used intellectual armor and use of knowledge to assert superiority allows him to develop a hoarding character. His dismissing attachment, Sheldon lacked an emotional connection to his family and strict use of logic to and intellect to help him guide his understanding of the world. Sheldon didn't reject emotional closeness by nature, but rather a psychological adaptation to an environment that was unintentionally discouraged vulnerability with praise focused on his intellect. And if you have any questions about my presentation, please feel free to send them to the email there, and thank you for listening.